Hello everyone, and welcome back to another tmap tutorial in R. And in this video, I want to begin talking about actually constructing tmaps. So if you remember in our previous video, we talked about the two different mapping modes for interactive and static. In this video, I want to start to break down tmap in terms of how we actually go about constructing a map. And I want to start with the two most basic pieces, the tm shape call, and then go through the different geometries that you have to include, so that at the most basic level you'll get something to plot out for you. And hopefully by the end of this video or the next, code like this won't seem so foreign, and you'll be able to see why pieces are where they are and what is coming from where, and be able to replicate something as simple as this. So let's go ahead and let's sort of clear out some of the clutter here. And I want to make sure that I want to check our tmap mode just to make sure that mode equals plot. Just again to make sure that we're not accidentally building something in interactive mode. So anyway, what I've done here is I'm just loading in clean data. I'm again defining that projection because for some reason the roads data set doesn't have one. And then we're going to be talking about raster data, and land is a data set that comes out of, I believe it's GIS tools, that has multiple different layers. So I just pulled out the elevation data. So this is just a one band elevation raster. And we're going to go through and we're going to talk about how we can start to make maps with these different things. So again, I'm going to try my best to draw parallels to ggplot because I think that sort of is a good framework to wrap your head around tmap. There are certainly some things where tmap sort of falls apart, or where I feel that tmap is a little more confusing than it might need to be. And we'll go through those and explain them as we come to them. But the first thing I want to do is I want to set up a map of polygons. Right, so we're going to make a map using polygon data. And the first thing you need to do in every single tmap is this tm underscore shape. And you'll see the contextual menu pop up here, and you'll see that it has the first parameter is SHP, and all the rest of them you don't really have to worry about too much unless you have a specific reason to change them. But SHP you need to have every single time. And what tm shape is this is similar to that initial ggplot call in ggplot2, where we're just passing in what data set do we want this plot to reference. In this case, we want to reference the blocks data set. So this is saying, hey, we're going to create a tmap, and we want you to reference the blocks data set. So if we run this, you'll see we don't get any errors. But if we try to plot it, map underscore poly, you'll see that we get an error saying that no layer elements defined. And what this is saying, okay, great, you told me what data set to use, but you didn't tell me what to do with it. So tmap has no idea what to do with a spatial polygons data frame. Right? We haven't told it anything else. So we need to give it a little bit more information. And this is where we get into the geometry. So this is similar to those geom underscore boxplot underscore hist, right? All those sort of geom calls. This is the sort of equivalent of that in tmap. Now, I will say, full disclosure, this is one area where I feel tmap breaks down slightly in terms of readability, because with tmap, everything is tm underscore. Everything in tmap is tm underscore, but not everything is a geometry. So unlike ggplot, where you had the geom underscore, which separated out the geometry from the scales, right? Tmap, everything is just tmap underscore, or tm underscore. So you kind of have to be a little bit careful. And there's really there's more than six, but there's really 6 geometries that I think are most often going to be used. And we're going to go through each of them in this video. So for polygons, there are 3 different polygon geometries. The first is fill. And by doing tm fill with nothing in the parentheses, this is just going to use the defaults. And it's going to reference back to this TM shape. So if I run this again, and then I run map poly, we scroll down a little bit, you'll see that we've made a gray blob. And so this may not seem like much, but what we've done is we've taken the polygons from blocks and we have filled them with a single color. Okay, so that's all TM fill did. I'm going to make this one just because we're going to have multiple. Actually, we'll do TM poly. We'll call it fill. Give it something a little more meaningful. TM poly fill, so we don't crash. All right. So if we wanted to give all of the polygons a single color and we don't care about the boundaries, we would use TM fill. So this may be useful, for example, if you have the United States and you want the outline of the United States, but you don't want each state to be visible, you would use TM fill. So let's do the second option for polygons is what's called boundary. And again, we're going to call TM underscore shape. Shape equals blocks. But in this case, instead of doing TM underscore fill, we're going to do TM underscore borders. And again, we're not going to put anything in there. We're going to accept the defaults. Adjusting defaults will be later videos. So if we run TM map boundary, and we call map underscore poly boundary, we execute that line of code, you'll see that now we have the outlines, but the interior, right, the fill is now transparent. So this would be great if you wanted to put, say, the state boundaries, right? Going back to the US states example. Say you wanted to put the state boundaries on top of a raster, and you wanted that raster to show through, but you wanted the boundaries, right? You would use TM underscore borders to have no fill, but boundaries. So fill is one color, no borders. Borders is no fill and boundaries and boundary lines. Hopefully that makes sense. There's a third option, which combines the two together. So we're going to do shape equals blocks again. And then this time we're going to do TM underscore polygons. Now, TM underscore polygons, you get sort of the best of both worlds. If we run that, and then we do this, map underscore poly, and we run that, scroll down, you'll see that polygons does both. You fill in the polygons with a single color, but you also get the boundary lines as well. So this is probably what you're used to in, say, ArcGIS Pro or QGIS by default, where you have the boundary lines and the fill color. So again, TM fill gives you just the inside, no boundary lines. TM borders gives you just the boundary lines and the fill is transparent. And TM polygons, you get both. And again, we'll talk about customizing all of that in a later video. So that's polygons. Again, we have other data types. And I think what we're going to do is we're actually going to stop this video here and we're going to talk about those other data types in their own videos. So again, hopefully this made sense, the importance of TM shape, the difference between TM fill, TM borders, and TM polygons. If any of this was confusing, I encourage you to go back, rewatch parts of the video you're confused about, and as always, please reach out. Thank you.